Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man.
For I am the man himself. Once again, how y'all doing on this Tuesday afternoon? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Yes, it is very rare for me to be recording on Tuesdays, as usually I'd be at work or I'd be on my way to my Tuesday night trivia night that I usually go to on Tuesdays. But of course, I'm off work again today, but tomorrow I return back to work and won't be off again until after the busy season's over. So just nice little breather I try to take. Of course, in the room with me right now, which are both on the floor, napping right now, is my dogs, Kingsley and Sami, or Sabbath is his real name. It shows Sami right now, but Sami is sleeping at my feet, so I do not want to interrupt his nap. But again, just getting used to, raising a dog from scratch. But of course, I thought I would continue on because it is a pay-per-view week, so we have preview and predictions to do, which will probably either be tomorrow or Thursday, I will say. I will get those in. But I do have to make the graphics, so which I'll be working on that and a bunch of other stuff after I do this video. And then, of course, we're going to roll in. And again, we're going to talk about the go-home show for Crown Jewel, which took place on Raw last night. Well, the go-home episode of Raw. This one was live. Friday's episode of SmackDown, of course, is going to be pre-taped since they are going to be traveling to Saudi Arabia. So it is going to be a pre-taped episode. We'll see how that goes. This episode took place in Greenville, South Carolina. Wait, South or North Carolina? I always get those mixed up. Hold on. It is Greenville, South Carolina. Greensboro is North Carolina. This is Greenville, South Carolina. There we go. Sorry about that. Overall, like I said last week, it seemed like they got the matches settled for Crown Jewel pretty quick. So last week and this week was kind of like filler, with some teases of some things to come for the future, which cool with me. There really wasn't anything like Survivor Series wise they were teasing. But this week was not as good. Again, there was a few things. Well, there was a few things either that I liked or I didn't like. Like, I'm sorry, stuff with Judgment Day to make absolutely no sense. Like this week, why on earth is JD McDonough all of a sudden like cool? Like, why is the Judgment Day all of a sudden cool with him? Like, what did he do to prove himself? They haven't even addressed it. Like, Damian Priest is the one who, like, despises JD McDonough. But now he's cool with him. And there's no continuity there as to why. I don't get that. The stuff with Xia Li now completely makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I'm interested to see if, of course, that finish to her match with Candice was on purpose or if it was an accident. Basically, well, as on purpose, I meant that if it was part of the story or if it was an accident to help develop a character from her. But then again, she still wants a shot at Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch is no longer the NXT Women's Champion. That makes no sense. And of course, we had the annual Trick or Street fight, which gets very... I'm sorry. I don't care who's involved with that gimmick match just always seems to be too corny for me. I don't know what it is. Holiday episodes always usually aren't really the best, if I'm being honest. I mean, a few things I did like. I like the course, except for Nia Jax, of course. But I like the vignettes for all 5 of the women in that Fatal 5-Way on Saturday. I did like the video packages for Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre's match, which I have an idea, but something still may not quite make sense with it. Well, it may work, but I'll save it for my crown jewel previewing predictions. I also liked, because I didn't really see much of it in NXT, the Raw debut match with Alpha Academy versus the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius, which I can definitely, again, I haven't watched NXT, and I don't really know much about them, but I can see there being some sort of a comparison with Alpha Academy. Julius Creed is athletic and similarly gifted like Chad Gable. Brutus, although a little more agile than Otis, is more like built like Otis. The bigger, powerhouse man, but he has a little more agility than Otis. So I did like that. I'll give that credit as well. And a few other things that I will touch on. But yeah, stuff again that's still making no sense to me, like Judgment Day, stuff making no sense. Xia Li, stuff making no sense. It was another back and forth episode. Mainly filler. With some development of stuff to come. I'll give it that. But we're going to roll into it, guys. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to go from there. So the show opens up with Rhea Ripley, Dominik Mysterio, and JD McDonough coming out. And as I said before, it makes no sense to me as to if JD is... to me, this episode acted like that JD for sure is in the Judgment Day. But just 2 or 3 weeks ago, Judgment Day was pissed at him for costing them their titles. And now, especially this episode, it seems that JD is just Judgment Day's personal punching bag. Either they like him, they don't like him, or he's getting the shit beat out of him by everybody else. Hence the ending of this show. But they come out, they remind us that Judgment Day run the show, Dominik's going to put Ricochet down, and JD's going to remind Seth Rollins exactly what it feels like to be an enemy of the Judgment Day. And how Drew and Seth have to decide who wants to win and who wants to get crushed by Judgment Day's boot. Because teasing still that Damian Priest is going to cash in, which he will. I'm pretty sure this time he will get involved. Oh, I did kind of lie a little bit. Well, I didn't mean to, but whenever I said there was no Survivor Series teases. But Sami Zayn came out next. And he then starts saying, I'm sorry for coming out uninvited, but he's sick of hearing Rhea talk about power and how the Judgment Day runs the show. If her game is oppressing people with her power, his name isn't Sami Zayn. His name is Rebellion. His name is Resistance. And he'll fight the Judgment Day against overwhelming odds as long as there's a breath of air in his body. He will fight Judgment Day and stand and everything they stand for until they are no more. I think he says something about he fighting 5-on-1 or whatnot, which is making me wonder if that's a tease again for War Games, which probably will. Rhea says it don't matter. They don't need the numbers. So she gives him a match. She books a match against Damian Priest for him tonight, which would be in the main event later on in the show. And also, apparently, Crown Jewel's bringing off back kickoff show matches. And we're going to see Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Okay? And then Dom gets on the mic and says, why don't we take care of Sami right now? But then Ricochet comes out. So he's getting ready to have a match with Dominik and runs him down. And then we have Ricochet and Dominik. It was a decent match for what it was. Rhea, though, of course, interferes, and Dom takes advantage of the interference and does a roll-up victory on Ricochet. And afterwards, Ricochet tries to run off the Judgment Day as he survives like a 2-on-1 beatdown from JD and Dom. And, of course, Rhea is just, chirping, doing all the dirty work in the background. We have our first promo, which was for the women, which was from Raquel Rodriguez after that. And then we had, again, this match with Alpha Academy versus the Creed brothers. Brutus and Judas. Brutus and Julius. And again, like I said, I don't watch NXT. because I did watch NXT Stand and Deliver this year for something different. I can't remember if they were on that show or not. But this is my first like full glimpse of them because I think they're officially called up. They're not bad. Again, like I do like again like the comparisons that they were kind of like emphasized this match with Julius Creed being similar to like Chad Gable, and Brutus with a little more agility is like Otis. I liked them. I thought they were fun, and the crowds were in this match too. Definitely my favorite match of this show, and one of my favorite parts of the show, of course. But we had some very good moves there. Otis doing the Caterpillar, but couldn't keep Julius down. Julius had a nice 450 splash. Gable and his moonsaults. And then I guess the finisher for Creed Brothers is called Brutus Bomb Doomsday or something like that, where they held up Otis on Julius's shoulder, and Brutus just bulldozed into him from the top rope or something like that. It looked pretty cool. It was different. And the Creed Brothers do win with the victory, and afterwards show a sign of respect with Alpha Academy. Okay, cool. Like I said, it's a nice addition to tag team. We have DIY who are back now with a brand new theme song. We'll talk about their match in a second. I don't know what the heck's going on with Imperium, but we're going to talk about them in a second as well. But another name to the tag team division, I can take him. I like it. Good show. I thought their main roster debut. Then we have another backstage segment with the Judgment Day for the 50 millionth time. And New Day showed up for Trick or Treat dressed up as the Judgment Day and call themselves the New Judgment Day. But they walk away because they have no candy. And then Rhea and Dom return, and Xavier hits on Rhea before Kofi says, no, go away. We're not going to do this. Pulls him away. Damian, though, was salty about not being out there to help Dom. And Rhea tells them they need to focus on the rest of their business. And then Priest say he might want to cash in a crown jewel. And they're all supposed to be equals. But did he miss a meeting where they decided on matches for each other, referring to the main event? Rhea says the reason she made the match tonight, which again, also I must say, how is Judgment Day allowed to make matches? Isn't that supposed to be approved by management? But anyway, she made the match tonight because him and Sam, because he is the Punisher of the Judgment Day, and he takes care of the people who stand in their way. Damian's like, okay, I'm cool with that. But he wants Saturday to be about him. He's got Cody Rhodes on Saturday at Crown Jewel, and he looks very focused on cashing in. You okay, Sami? Yeah, he's just yawning. And then, but tonight's all about the Judgment Day running the show. Then we have this interesting. Well, first, before we get to this interesting Miz TV segment, we had Nia Jax talking about how I squashed everybody. Squashed. She better not win on Saturday. She better not win. And when she loses, get away from the title scene. Get away. Let it go. Let her go. Don't keep her around. I don't know. Anyways, though, we have this. Now, funny enough, this is not an official turn alert, which I haven't done a turn alert in a while, but I'm waiting to see where it go with this. But funny enough, right before this segment, I was flipping through Twitter, and I saw something about about would you want to see Miz be a face again? I thought it was just a fantasy thing. Well, it looks like it might be happening. But Miz has Miz TV, and he hypes up how next August it was announced that they're going to be doing Bash in Berlin in Germany. Awesome. And that made him want to bring on the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. So Gunther's music goes off twice, and he doesn't come out. Miz is like, what? This is weird. But then out come Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. They come down, and Ludwig tells Miz that the ring general isn't going to come down here just because he's told. Miz is everything wrong with the sport and is a clown. Miz fires back that he's been a lot of things, but never a sidekick, I guess he refers to Ludwig, or a third wheel like Giovanni. Well then, Giovanni has a microphone, and he says, weren't you Maurice's sidekick on Total Divas? And then Miz starts walking him saying, you actually can talk? And then he says, well, even so, you wish you could be with someone who has as hot of a wife as Maurice. And why, though, is Ludwig letting him talk anyway? And then Giovanni's like, I talk when I like to. But then Ludwig tells him, actually, in fact, he tells him he, in fact, only speaks when he or Gunther tells him to. Still the storyline where they're teasing the breakup of Imperium, so I don't know again what it is, because they should be dominant. They should be the dominating stable on the show, not the freaking Judgment Day. But anyways, Gunther comes out. He tells Miz he's no guest, and he came here to make two things clear. First of all, it's 2023, and you're seriously trying to run a talk show. Second off, the ring is sacred, and everything the Miz does is beneath him. Miz is beneath him, in fact, that he does not even respect him. Miz says he interviewed an invisible John Cena was more entertaining than Gunther, and whether it's movies, TV, or in the ring, he is the biggest star that the WWE has. Gunther says that's his problem. It's in the ring that matters, and that's why he's a talk show host, and Gunther is the greatest IC champion of all time. And then Miz says, you want me to be serious? I can be serious when I want. Like when he beat Randy Orton to win the world title. When he beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. That's not a good thing to try to give himself babyface momentum, because that match sucked. And when he won his second title, and when he made the Intercontinental Championship the most relevant title of all time. And he has no problem doing it again. Gunther's like, if you're all about creating moments, why don't we create a little moment right now? And then Kaiser picks up one of the jack-o'-lanterns that were on the table, carved with like a Miz TV symbol, and then they smash it. Gunther asks Miz, what is Miz going to do about it, as Ludwig keeps smashing up, destroying his set. Then Miz finally fires up and attacks, but Imperium cuts him off, leaving him laying. And then Gunther asks who he thinks he is and tells him he's not in his league. And he goes to leave, but then Miz pops up and attacks only to get cut off again by a big boot. And then DIY come out, and then DIY beat Imperium. Giovanni Vinci eats the pin again. Again, cool seeing DIY in action, but I just don't get this Imperium storyline. But anyways, also, before that match also, we had The Miz backstage confronting Adam Pearce, saying, are you going to let what just happened, let Imperium get away with it? He wants a title match. And then Pearce is like, why should I give one to him? Then The Miz starts running off his credentials, and then Pearce is like, you can't just give him a title match, but you give him a shot, one-on-one against Bronson Reed, who rolls up and asks The Miz if he has a problem with that. But Miz backs down and says he'll take the title from him if need be. So it looks like they are going in a possible babyface direction for The Miz. I mean, it'd be random if it happened now, because there's really no story. I mean, even like this seed being planted felt like they were rushing it. Or just a tease that Miz is going to start being, cruising with like the good spirits or whatever you want to say it. And I said this on Twitter too when I saw that one post before the segment. I'm okay with them trying Miz against a face. Because when the first time they tried it was in like 2012, 2013. It did not work. I'm sorry. He was still arrogant. It didn't work. When they tried it again in 2019, when they made him the face in his feud with Shane McMahon, which I thought was going to be the opposite, he had something there. I liked it. But then, of course, WWE just didn't book it right. So, it can work. But we just got to have them do the right, have the right story, have the correct direction with it. So, we'll see if they, in fact, roll with that or not. We have a promo from Shinsuke talking about how he's looking for his next sacrifice to step forward and awaken him. Which there have been rumors circulating that this is a hype reel for CM Punk's first feud when he comes in at Survivor Series. And I'm kind of like, again, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I mean, it'd be cool if that was, but again, not going to believe it until I see it. But of course, it sets up for a match with him next week against Akira Tozawa. We'll see. Who the heck knows? We also get a hype reel for Candice LeRae as she comes out with Indy Hartwell getting ready for Candice's match against Xia Li. Match was kind of quick. And it ended with a referee stoppage because Xia Li did some vicious roundhouse kick and it looked like it knocked out Candice. Which I don't know if Candice for real got knocked out. Or if that was just part of the story, which if it's so, okay, but even so, it's this stuff with Xia Li again. They had a segment that just stamped on it that just didn't make sense, which is later in the show. So Becky Lynch was interviewed, and for those of you, again, I don't watch NXT, but I did read the results. For those of you who didn't know, Becky Lynch did drop the title to Lyra Valkyria at NXT's Halloween Havoc Night 1 last week. Later on, she was being interviewed saying if someone's going to take the title from her, it needed to be someone passionate like Lyra Valkyria. But Becky's not afraid of losing, and it won't keep her down. In 42 days, she defended her title more times than Rhea Ripley or Roman Reigns has all year. Ouch. I mean, Rhea, it's not her fault, it's her booking. Roman, yes, with his new schedule. And she reminds us that she doesn't need the title. The title needs her. And then Xia Li rolled up. And she's like, yo, Becky, you scared of me? And Becky says, if you want to fight, we can fight now. And Zia's like, not now, on my own time. And Becky says, we've been doing this for weeks. When exactly is her time? And then Xia walks away. And again, it's like, she's right. Like, well, first off, why should it still even, like, who wants to see just a random feud with Xia Li and Becky Lynch? And there's, if it was a hype of a match for the NXT women's title, fine, I'll take that. But Becky's not champion anymore. So, why is this continuing? And why is it that Zia's complaining that she doesn't want to fight? That Becky, she's like, when are we going to give me an opportunity? Becky's like, let's do it. Not now. It makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. Like, this right here just, like, stamped it. Like, okay, she's no longer a champion anymore. Why isn't Xia Li trying to get to Lyra Valkyria now? That's what she should be talking to. Not Becky, who isn't the champion anymore. Who the hell knows, though? We did have an interview also with Jey Uso giving Sami a pep talk for his match with Damian Priest in the main event. And then Jay's being interviewed, and he says he's going to slide on Finn Balor soon. Sami's going to handle his business tonight, and Cody is going to handle his business on Saturday. But he's thinking about trying to get another shot with the tag titles for him and Cody. Yeet! And walks away. We then have a nice video package with Drew McIntyre talking about his career, the ups and the downs, and how it still bothers him that the biggest moment of his career, winning the world title at WrestleMania 36, was in front of nobody. because of it being during the pandemic. And how his moment got screwed up at Clash of the Castle in his home in London, England last year, when he should have won it, but again, the bloodline cost him the match. And then he mentions how Seth was his first title defense. This Saturday, he will be Seth's last title defense, as he plans on winning the championship. So he gets her turn for a promo, how she's going to win on Saturday. Not yet, but I still wish she'd be the one we'd be building to win the Women's Rumble, but you know. Seth Rollins then comes out and says he feels like getting loose out here tonight, and he's agreed to beat the crap out of Judgment Day's bad boy, or as I'm saying, Judgment Day's punching bag, JD McDonough, in preparation for his tag title match on Saturday. And all he has to say, he says he's going to say as respectfully as he can after hearing what Drew said a few minutes ago, boo freaking who. He calls him a big Scottish baby. And yes, he feels bad that he didn't get his big moment in front of fans in 2020. But he reminds us that he wasn't the only one suffering at the time. We all were. We were fighting for our battles, fighting for our paychecks. Like, they didn't know what they had. And they had a lot worse than Drew. He didn't know they were going to get their next, all this and that, we're going to say. So, sorry he didn't get to win his world title the way he dreamed of it. So get in line with guys like Sami Zayn and guys who he doesn't like, he admits, but Cody Rhodes. But those guys won't ask for any pity. Drew, though, was a hell of a champion. And if Drew does win on Saturday, he'll be the first man to shake his hand and call him champ. Just like he did in 2020. But back in 2020, he was not the same. He was a completely different guy. Seth is not the Messiah. He is not the architect. And there's a reason they sing his song. And then JD McDonough just blindsides Seth. They have the match. It was what it was. I mean, it had some good spots in it, but Seth does win with the blackout. And afterwards, Damian Priest would come out him and Seth start jawing at each other. And then Ricochet is chatting with Adam Pearce. And then Adam Pearce gives him an opportunity to become number one contender for the IC title. But then Ricochet says he's got a bone to go pick first. And I guess there's going to be a fatal four-way. Well, I'm sorry. In a second. Then we have Chelsea Green and Piper Niven rolling up, dressed up as the Hart Foundation. Chelsea says dressed up as Brett. Piper dressed up as Jim the Anvil Neidhart with even the fake beard, the sunglasses, the chest hair, because they got the trick or street fight with Natalya. And then basically they go to complain, but then Pierce goes, he's got a lot on his plate. And then Valhalla rolls up with Ivar saying that they want a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, which sets up a fatal four-way for next week. It's between Ricochet, The Miz, Ricochet, The Miz, Bronson Reed, and Ivar for a shot at the Intercontinental title. We'll see where that goes as well. I don't know where Eric is, but they are making the most out of this Ivar singles push, though, it looks like. So, we'll see how that goes down. And, of course, when they leave, Adam Pearce again goes, I need a drink. Natalya was then coming out as Catwoman. A lot of people were very impressed by her costume. And we have the match, Natalya and Chelsea Green, trick or street fight. Again, as I said in the introductions, I'm never a fan of these. They're just so corny and whatnot. They even had a spot where they poured out candy corn and Natalya powerbombed Chelsea through candy corn. It was just so weird. It was basically a 2-on-1 street fight because Piper got involved, and then eventually Chelsea does win off distractions with the unpretty her, or whatever heck they call it, which is basically the kill switch. Christian's move, and Chelsea wins. We move on from there. Rhea gets her promo about how she'll win, And then we had Sami Zayn and Damian Priest in the main event. And then the usual shit, Judgment Day get involved. Jey Uso comes out to try to help even the odds. But what made no sense is I thought he was out there to have Sami's back, right? Well, he takes out Dom. He takes out Finn. But then for some reason, he gets in the ring and super kicks Damian Priest for a DQ. And I'm like, whoa, who's the heel here? Like, Jay's one of the faces here. Why is a face getting in there and just for no reason costing Sami the match? Like, he did his job. He evened the odds. So, why was this have to happen? So that happens, and then Jay goes to check on Sami, and then Judgment Day beat them down, and then Cody Rhodes comes out, and he starts brawling with Damian Priest. He gets rid of Priest, and then he follows him and smashes his face at the announce desk. And then Sami and Jay recover, and then help him out for a little bit and do their shtick. And basically it ends with Cody Rhodes taking JD McDonough with a crossroads twice on the desk. Which, by the way, it was also noted in this match that Damian Priest did use his old finisher, the Reckoning. And I guess the reason why they stopped that and he now just does the South of Heaven is because it looks too similar to the Crossroads. But they even acknowledged it too, the announcers. And Space said that was kind of a shot trying to get into Cody's head. So that could have been the case, but whatnot. But anyways, after they beat the hell out of JD McDonough for the millionth time, Cody then gets a microphone. And Damian Priest is up the ramp. And Cody says he didn't go down from the chair on his leg last week. He keeps getting back up. That's his story. What's Damian's? 6'6", 20-year pro, has a briefcase, and he's not the leader of Judgment Day. He's a walk-behinder. He'll walk behind Rhea. He'll walk behind Finn. And heck, he'll even walk behind Dom. When you think it's someone else, it's always Cody Rhodes. He's back on his path. And on Saturday, his path goes straight through him. That's the show. And that's it. Like I said, I'm done with the Judgment Day. This Xia Li stuff, again, made no sense. I'm interested in where The Miz goes with if they do fully turn face. But whatever's going on with Imperium, with them teasing this breakup, I don't like that either. Again, I did like the match with with the Creed brothers in Alpha Academy. I did not like the Trick or Street fight. I did like the promos again for the Women's Fatal 5-Way. And I did like the stuff with Seth and Drew. A few other things that were, I give the nod there. So I gave the show a C+. Oh, I forgot to mention also, during the Trick or Street fight, because it's the freaking thumbnail of my video, again, they lifted up a pumpkin that was on the table, and underneath it was Nikki Cross's head. It didn't look like it was real, but it for real was Nikki stoned, basically. Not Brent Blinken. So they're still going all out on that. But, yeah, a very back and forth episode. I gave it a C+. Like I said, they seem like the card was pretty much set at the beginning of last week. With the addition, of course, of Io and Bianca. And then they announced on this show that there will be a kickoff match with Sami and JD. So the last 2 weeks was just like filler. And some teases of the future, but also some weird bookings as well. So I gave this episode of Raw a C+. Again, hopefully tomorrow or Thursday after work, because I do return back to work tomorrow, hopefully one of those days I will be having my Crown Jewel preview done as well. So guys, that's my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts on Raw? Make sure you guys leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. And also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I am checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Have a great Halloween. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion. That is a fact of life. Yeah. Oh, don't do high. Yeah. Thank you, Sami.